let's be real for a second. We have all been there. You're in the middle of something important, and suddenly the Wi-Fi drops. It's this thing we use every single day. We get so mad when it's slow, but it really does feel like this invisible, magical force that just beams everything from our work emails to, endless cat videos right into our homes. But have you ever actually stopped to wonder how it all works? I mean, really, how does data just fly through the air and appear on your screen? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's not magic, it's science. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain on that little blinking box in the corner of your room. Okay, so let's just dive right in. The very first, and honestly the most important thing you need to understand is this. Wi-Fi and the internet are not the same thing. I know. We use the words interchangeably all the time, but they are two completely separate ideas. And once you get this part, I promise, everything else just clicks into place.
So think of it this way. The internet? That's the big stuff. It's a massive global highway system made of actual physical fiber optic cables running under the oceans and across continents. And that wire coming into your house, that's like your own personal exit ramp, bringing that whole information superhighway right to your front door. Wi-Fi, on the other hand, is just the local connection. It's what lets all your devices get onto that exit ramp without having to be physically plugged in.
So the whole journey is actually pretty simple when you break it down. First, the wired internet comes into your house through that cable in the wall. Then you plug that cable directly into your router. And finally, the router does its thing, turning that signal from the wire into the wireless Wi-Fi signal that all your devices can find and connect to. All right, let's talk about that little box, because your router is honestly the unsung hero of your entire home network. It's not just some dumb box that sits there blinking. Its real job is, well, it's way cooler than you probably think. You see, its secret job is to be a brilliant translator. It takes all that information coming in through the physical wire, all those ones and zeros, and it translates it into a language that can travel through the air. And it does this using radio waves. Now, don't let that term scare you off. It is the exact same kind of invisible energy that your car radio uses to pick up music. The only difference here is that instead of carrying songs, these waves are carrying your emails, your Netflix show, your video calls, all that data. Your router is basically a tiny personal radio station broadcasting the internet just for you. But here is where it gets really interesting. Unlike your car radio, which can only listen, Wi-Fi isn't a one-way street. It's a super fast, nonstop two-way conversation happening between all of your devices and that router. Your phone, your laptop, even your smart TV, they all have these tiny little antennas inside, and they are constantly listening for those radio waves. When they hear the signal, they instantly decode it back into the digital ones and zeros that make up a website. And then, when you go to send an email or upload a picture, your device does the exact same thing, but in reverse. It encodes your data into radio waves and sends it right back. It's this constant digital chatter happening at unbelievable speeds. So if the system is so clever, why does my Wi-Fi just die sometimes? That is the million-dollar question, right? Now that we know Wi-Fi is really just a radio conversation, we can finally understand what's interrupting it. It's time to meet the enemies of good Wi-Fi. So what are the usual suspects? What exactly is getting in the way of that high-speed conversation that's supposed to be happening all around us? Let's take a look. Well, first off, you need to know your router is actually broadcasting on two different lanes, or frequencies, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. The easiest way to think about it is like a local road and a highway. That 2.4 gigahertz lane, the local road, travels a lot farther and is way better at getting through walls. But it's slower, and it gets really crowded with other devices. The 5 gigahertz lane is like the wide open highway. It's way, way faster with a lot less traffic, but it just doesn't have the same range. So there's always a trade-off. And on top of that, anything that can block radio waves is gonna hurt your Wi-Fi. Thick concrete walls, they're a classic signal killer. Just being too far away from the router is another obvious one. But get this, other electronics can mess with it too, especially your microwave oven. Yep, seriously. It actually operates on a very similar frequency, so when you're heating up last night's pizza, it can literally shout over the conversation your devices are trying to have. So let's bring this all home. The real takeaway from all this is that you now have a Wi-Fi superpower. You actually get it. You know that this thing that feels like total magic is really just a beautiful, practical bit of science happening in your house. So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. It is not the internet that is failing you. It is the radio conversation being blocked. That is the key to everything. Now, when you see that dreaded buffering wheel, that little spinning circle of death, you can diagnose it. You know it's not some random internet failure. It's just the radio signal between your router and your device getting drowned out by all the physical and electronic noise in your own home. It's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it, isn't it? All those videos, all those messages, they're just invisible radio waves being translated back and forth in real time. So I gotta ask you, thinking about your own home right now, where is your worst Wi-Fi dead spot? That one corner of the house where nothing ever seems to work? Well, now you know why.